Today we're going to be discussing the rebound the GOP has had after the Brett Kavanaugh whole controversial confirmation things and pretty much all the recent events that have attributed to the GOP rebounding in national and Senate polls. Not so much the House polls, which we'll go over in just a moment, and not so much the generic ballot polls, but some things have changed and not in the favor of the Democrats. So we are currently, by the time this uploads, probably 31 days. It's currently Friday, so I'm saying 32 in this video. But we are 32 days away from the 2018 general election. So we are getting very close, around a month away. And typically at this point, the entire wave is set. There is either a Democratic wave, a Republican wave, or just a blip. And nothing really changes nationwide. In terms of what we're looking at now, yes, it is likely to be a Democratic wave. But this is the first time in a long time that people are very contested about how they're going to deem this race. Even in a presidential election year, which typically doesn't favor certain political parties that much outside of the Electoral College, the Democrats claimed the year of 2006 and 2008. 2010 was a GOP year, 2012 not so much, but then 2014 came back around, labeled as a GOP year, and then 2016 not so much for either party. So typically, midterm election years are when each party claims that year as their own. But now we are leading into the 2018 general elections, and there's still a possibility of a Republican wave year. With around a month way to go, the GOP is rebounding in a number of these Senate races. Their margins are going up. In terms of their leads are going up, or the Democratic lead is going down. And again, anything can happen. October surprises. If 2016 taught us anything, a lot can change in the final 2 weeks of the campaign. However, at this point, it should be set in stone that it's going to be an either party wave. But unfortunately for the Democrats, I personally and many people cannot pinpoint it. Because yes, we always like to say it's a Democratic wave year. But we aren't looking close enough. Because there is the possibility the GOP does in fact gain seats in the Senate, hold on to the House, hold on to a number of these governorships that the Democrats think they have a shot at. In fact, if you take the 538 current House ratings and you give the leader all of the House races, the Republicans come out with 218 seats and the Democrats at 217. So when we look at those numbers, it looks even more likely that the Democrats may not gain as many seats as previously thought. Now, when it comes down to the Senate, it's even worse for the Democrats. States like Montana and West Virginia and Indiana and Florida have gotten a lot closer for Democrats than the previous week. In terms of states like North Dakota, I meant to say West Virginia, Indiana, Florida, and Montana. In terms of North Dakota, that race has actually gotten more into the GOP column. Kevin Cramer led by 4% in one poll. So at that point, it could have been a blip. No, he leads by 4% in another poll, only solidifying those results from before. So yes, it was a lead for the GOP in favor of the lean or possibly even tote column. You can make an argument for either one. But then a new poll comes out showing Kevin Cramer leading by 10%. 10% as a challenger against an incumbent. Okay, that's crazy. Okay, that's like Rick Scott leading by 10% against Bill Nelson. Okay, it's pretty much really hard to do. And then I said to myself, well, maybe this one is just out there. Maybe it could be wrong. Obviously, it could be closer than that. However, a new poll just came out showing Kevin Cramer leading by 12%. So when we start off based off the 270 to win map, North Dakota moves into the likely GOP column based off those polling numbers. Okay, that puts the Republicans at 50 seats. 50 is their magic number because of Vice President Mike Pence. If they get any more than 50, it's already a single solidified majority. If they get 50 and tie the Senate, they need Vice President Mike Pence to hand them the majority. But right now, when we look at two of these Senate races, Texas and Tennessee probably are a little bit closer than people expect. But North Dakota being in the likely GOP column is not a good look for Democrats. It's a very good look for the GOP. You don't really expect them to have any gains whatsoever in this map. Yes, it is very much lopsided against the Democrats. I mean, if we fill in all the states that Trump won in 2016 for the Democratic winners, I guess, right now the GOP would have 60 seats. 60. And the Democrats would have 40. Now, whether or not that's believable, which it pretty much isn't, because we know a number of these races are probably going to go towards the Democratic Party, the point needs to be made. Because if we fill in all of these red Senate races for the Democratic Party, just look at the majority it gives them. Okay, it gives them a very narrow majority compared to what the GOP could have if the entire race, all the races went to the GOP. So yes, I showed you a map that shows 60 to 40, but that was with all the Trump states going red. So 58 to 42 is the most the Democrats can do. If we go to a map, actually, I don't think they have it here, where the GOP wins everything except for California because they can't, the map starts to fill in a lot more red and a lot more lopsided in terms of the map. Because as you can probably see as we're leading into it, it does not look good for the Democratic Party whatsoever. This map definitely does not benefit them whatsoever. Okay, the GOP would have 76 seats to 24 seats for the Democratic Party. That's how it would go if the GOP was able to win everything. But they won't. So we're going to go ahead and put some reason into this map and start filling in a number of these these House, I don't know why I keep saying it, not House races, these Senate races that we already know are going to go a certain way. But that leaves right now pretty much a number of contested races in terms of the let's actually fill in Virginia. In terms of the races that are currently toss-ups, the races that probably aren't rated as safe for either political party, we're going to uncheck now. That leaves 45 Republican races and 39 Democratic races. When you start filling in the GOP ones, you go into states like Nebraska or Mississippi, Tennessee, Texas. I flipped those two. And then, of course, if North Dakota goes to the GOP, it's done for the Democrats. So this map is going to be very, very important for the Democratic Party. The fact that North Dakota has moved into the leaning, possibly even likely GOP column, makes the races a lot worse for them. Now, for the congressional vote, the Democrats haven't really gone down. But unfortunately for the Democratic Party, if we look at the numbers here, the GOP hasn't really reached this point of support in recent polling data. Okay, they're at 41.3%. If we look at a number of these polls, yes, there was a time where they were at 40.5%. But there was never a point where the GOP led as high as they are leading now. Okay, leading all the way back here. Yeah, they led at 40.2. Okay, their lowest point was around, probably around here when they had 35.3. But now they're at 41.3 at some point, nearing 42. But when we look at these numbers, not a good look for Democrats because Democrats have pretty much leveled off around this margin, but have gone down just a slight bit. But when it comes down to the popular vote, it comes down to a number of these key races, that small vote really does matter. In terms of the battle for the House 2018 map, the GOP definitely does not have a good look for them either. New polls that just came out of California show the Democrats only need to carry 6 seats from the toss-up column. Okay, 6 out of a total of, let's see, there were a couple of races here, so just 6. They need to pick 6 that are already not rated or not leading for the Democrats in the most recent polls. So look over the GOP column. Actually, now they need 7 because the GOP has a Democratic district, PA 14, in their district. But when we look at the numbers, it looks very good for the Democratic Party because if we're looking at the races here, right now the Democrats currently have, they have 194 seats nationwide in terms of the House. The Republicans have 194 right now according to the RCP map. So when we look at these numbers, again, there are currently, it doesn't tell you the exact, 20 lean GOP seats, 13 likely GOP seats, and 161 safe GOP seats. For the Democrats, 173 safe Democratic seats, 14 likely Democratic seats, and 18 leaning Democratic seats. Now, the reason why this hurts the Republicans, yes, lean for either political party really doesn't matter. But in this election, it does. Typically, it won't matter. But when it comes down to these close races, these leaning Democratic districts are probably going to move into the likely column and move a step over. These 34 Republican races here, the Democrats currently need 11 of them. 11 out of those 34 in that area. And that's saying that the toss-up column is the only area that the Democrats pick from. Because if you look back in 2010, that leaning Democratic column went towards the GOP. Most of those districts went. Some even in the likely Democratic column back then. So let's say you give 13 seats plus 20 seats plus all 36 toss-up seats for the Democratic Party. That puts them at having 69 seats. All right, you see where that puts them? It puts them at the Republicans with 161, and let's see what that does for the Democratic Party. Adding 69, that gives them, carry the 1. Okay, I'm actually doing math live, but let's see. So 274 plus 161, making sure this adds up to 35. So yes, 435. Yeah, so the Democrats would have 274 seats. That would be huge. Now, I'm not saying that's possible, but the GOP at this point, the House does not look good for them. The Senate looks a whole lot better, as I was talking about before. So the GOP is rebounding, but not so much in a couple of these races, okay? When we look at some of these governor races, they really should be contested for the Democrats, and unfortunately for them, it's not. Unfortunately for the Republicans, it is pretty safe for the GOP. Again, this is the RCP map, not my own. It shows the Democrats with 44, the Republicans with 48, with already 1 pickup, and 0 pickups for the Democratic Party. So looking at this, there are currently 8 toss-ups. The Republicans need 2 out of those. Okay, the Democrats currently need 7 out of those. So when we look at this map, it doesn't look too good. And right now, if you look at states like Texas, probably going to remain in the Republican column. States like Tennessee, probably going to remain in the Republican column. That happens, the whole ball game is gone for the Democrats in the Senate. And in fact, right now, if we're being rational about this and we go to the right now no toss-up Senate map, the Republicans have 51 and the Democrats have 49. And they have a pickup in Nevada and Arizona, whereas the GOP picks up in Missouri and North Dakota. But right now, we look at states like Florida, which are narrowing down to +1 leads. States like Arizona, which are narrowing down to +3 leads. States like Nevada that are narrowed down to +3 leads. Whereas the GOP in states like Texas, +4. States like North Dakota, +12. Okay, so when we're looking at the areas that the Republicans can do better in, they possibly could take back Nevada and Arizona. If that happens, the Republicans actually gain they still gain 2, but they hold on to all of their seats, which puts them at 53 to 47. Not good for the Democratic Party. So overall, looking at the Senate map, this is the only area the Democrats are really doing poor in. When we look at these numbers, the GOP is in fact rebounding nationwide, whether it be just the Senate race or in a couple House and nationwide generic ballot polls. So thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.